So kicking off, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Brad Lindenberg, co-founder, co-CEO of Quadpay. A little bit about myself. I've got some pictures here of my family and my kids. I had two babies at the same time. I started Quadpay about 3.5 years ago, at the same time as my son was born. I'm originally from Australia, from Sydney, but have been living in New York City for 7 years. The photo on the left is my son Benji and I looking for helicopters on the roof of our building, and on the right, my daughter Ayla and my wife. The jury's out as to what requires more time and energy, the family or the business. But we're growing really quickly. We're about 110 people now. In the US, our headcount has doubled in the last 6 months. We're processing, billions of dollars in volume. We really feel that we have something fantastic here that, is a revolution in terms of how people are paying. So now that I've introduced myself, I'd love to get into the nitty-gritty of this sort of complex problems that have been facing consumers and the economy over the past decade, and sort of how we saw Quadpay as a way to address some of these issues. Millennials have, long faced an uphill battle to find financial stability within a challenging economy. And, coming of age and entering the workforce during a recession has forced this whole generation to get smart about their finances. And there's sort of, large amounts of debt in terms of college, like student loans, and the rising cost of living and stagnating wages means that millennials are particularly good at identifying predatory or scammy financial institutions, not out of, want, but like out of need in terms of being able to get by. And so this generation really represents an enormous and underserved market. Millennials now make up the largest segment of the workforce, and they are savvy e-commerce shoppers. Their spending power is immense, and they're projected to collectively spend $1.4 trillion in 2021. But this generation also has $1 trillion of student debt. And furthermore, 63% of millennials don't even have access to a credit card. So they really rely primarily on debit cards for both large purchases and everyday spending. And wherever they're, spending, they're sort of limited to the funds that are available on their debit card at that time. And when you think about that, it's a real sort of dead end in terms of the amount that they're able to spend. So between their enormous spending power and their equally weighted debt burden, it's no shock that 78% of millennials feel a lot of pressure when sort of planning for, like present and future financial responsibilities. And so beyond the unique challenges facing millennials, the unprecedented events of 2020 have really made all consumers even more budget conscious. This climate has increased the appetite for transparent and flexible payment solutions among financially savvy consumers. With unemployment at all-time highs and stimulus being used to bridge the unemployment gap, many Americans, rely on every single dollar that they get. And, we are really in a unique circumstances now where you have this convergence or reliance on e-commerce, but you also have, large economic shockwave that has been sent through the system, this last year during COVID. And consumers are really looking for ways that they can bridge that gap in a smart way where they don't have any of the negative implications of, debt and sort of credit, which is, what the system has currently been built on top of. The events of 2020 have also had a major impact on retailers, especially those who have relied traditionally on brick and mortar. lot of store closures, a lot of change in the landscape, malls shutting down. But at the same time, there's been a huge growth in e-commerce. And as a result, many retailers are looking for ways to maintain sales while accommodating the needs of these consumers in this rapidly changing environment, which has really taken us all by surprise and has happened extremely quickly. So taken together, these extraordinary circumstances really call for a revolutionary change to the way that we pay, both online and in store. So enter buy now, pay later. What buy now, pay later really is a very basic concept. It allows you to pay for anything in 4 installments over 6 weeks without any interest or any hidden fees. Very straightforward. The consumer checks out, whether it's online or in store, and they pay on their existing credit card or debit card, Visa, MasterCard, or like American Express card. But basically, instead of paying upfront for the full amount, they pay the first installment at the time of purchase. Quadpay pays the merchant the full amount of that transaction, so there's no risk for the merchant. And then over the next 6 weeks, we then recover the remaining 3 installments from the customer. So I'm going to show you guys a short video just to demonstrate buy now, pay later in action. The main appeal of this tool is really for the customer in that they're able to get instant gratification of getting your product right away, and they can divvy up the payments over the 6-week period to align with their pay cycle or their budgeting goals. As a merchant, they get you obviously get access to the funds without any risk. And most importantly, as a consumer, we don't really need the customer to go through any hard credit check. We don't report back to the credit bureau. So it's a very friendly service for customers or for consumers that may be credit averse. So just giving you a demonstration here. Here's a video of Quadpay on one of our merchant sites, Fashion Nova. The first place that you really see the pay in 4 option is on the product detail page, where the price gets split up into 4 installments. You then add the product to your cart and you just check out like a regular checkout, but instead of choosing credit card or PayPal, I'll just pause it there for a second, you would select Quadpay. We show up as an alternative way of paying. We then redirect, or we have a bunch of integration options. We can do like a pop-up on the checkout. You enter a one-time password, which gets SMS to you. And then here you see the Quadpay installment plan. In this example here, it's 4 installments of $11.25. This customer, Camilla, is an existing customer, so her card's on file. But this Visa card here that ends in 6333 would be charged in 4 installments of $11.25. She then confirms the payment, and the order is then confirmed, and then she is redirected back to the merchant's website. So it's a really simple and straightforward experience that is not really asking for the customer to do anything different to what they're already doing, which is checking out with a credit or a debit card. So, so just to talk about our mission and sort of what really drives us. At Quadpay, our mission is to empower consumers with simple and transparent and financially responsible payment tools that they can use anywhere. To put another way, our aim is really to give our customers more financial freedom with a platform that encourages smart spending and smart budgeting. Quadpay was founded just 3 years ago, and we're proud of what we've been able to achieve in a very short period of time. And we've really, changed the life of many consumers that use our products. We've had the opportunity to also partner with incredible merchants, and have been able to offer their customers this way to pay, and in turn drive amazing results for their businesses. Most importantly, we've been able to assist and create a direct relationship with over 3 million customers in the US and over 6 million customers globally through our partnership with Zip, who recently merged with Quadpay, and have a large business across the world. Our platform meets consumers wherever they shop, whether it's online, in store, or through an app. And we have a bunch of touch points that can allow brands to offer this type of payment facility, whether it's in store or on their e-commerce checkout. And also, if a customer just wants to use Quadpay at a merchant that we don't have an existing relationship with, for example, Amazon or Walmart, they're actually able to download the Quadpay Chrome extension or the Quadpay app and shop on those sites independently, of a deep Quadpay integration. And so, we are really here to assist this generation of shoppers to allow them to shop anywhere and anytime using, this new method. So, for retails, here's what it looks like. The merchant gets paid upfront while Quadpay absorbs all risk, fraud, and payback liability. This case study sort of demonstrates just how impactful a Quadpay partnership can be. In this case, we partnered with a $6 billion video game retailer and deployed Quadpay online and in store, driving significant lift in conversion rate, repeat purchase, and average order value. Within days, you tend to see these results. So, we drove a 20% lift in conversion rate on this particular merchant. We increased their AOV by over 50% in a matter of days. And their repeat purchase rate continues to climb. Their approval rates are over 85%, which is extremely high, versus traditional credit products, which typically see anywhere from a 10 to a 50% approval rate, which means a lot of customers that you're trying to get to your site are actually getting declined. Our platform, we have the best risk models and decisioning tools that really allow us to drive maximum volume. And not only does Quadpay support retailers' goals, but our platform is also loved by our customers, especially in a year where smart spending matters more than ever, and sort of a time period where these tools are essential to how people, are able to get by, but also buy gifts and so forth for their families during holiday periods. We've been able to maintain a 4.9 star rating on the App Store, and we get reviews like the ones that you can see here on screen every single day. And, this really drives our team and our focus, and just sort of reiterates, that we're on a purpose, that we have a purpose here that is really, profound in how it's impacting the everyday consumer as well as businesses. Some of the themes that we hear from customers over and over is that Quadpay takes the stress out of shopping and out of buying. It helps them get access to the lives that they want on the budgets that they have. But Quadpay isn't just a payment platform. We don't just stop at the transaction. Unlike traditional payment gateways, where all they really do is they process a transaction, facilitate the exchange of money, Quadpay is really a shopping destination as well as a customer acquisition channel for your business and for your brands and for your partners' brands. So this is an added bonus for merchants who want to partner with us. You get the immediate access to a highly engaged and active audience, over 3 million consumers, and that's growing exponentially as we speak. Not only are we offering a checkout solution, but we're really creating a shopping ecosystem that keeps customers engaged and with us for the long term. And so the result is, not only are customers trying Quadpay out, but they're really sticking with us. Nearly 30% of customers who pay using Quadpay check out more than once, and their lifetime value is over $250. So when you work with Quadpay, you get access, and this doesn't cost anything. You get access to the full marketing power of the platform. We send push notifications, emails, social media, editorial, and press releases that really drive the awareness of a new partnership. Those 3 million consumers are then made aware that you can pay with Quadpay on your website or at the point of sale. Makes a huge difference to growth. So just to zoom back out to the landscape of buy now, pay later, more broadly, as an Australian, I have to speak here to the growth. Based on the numbers that we're seeing in Australia, the global buy now, pay later movement is just getting started. In 2018, Australia saw 3% of e-commerce transactions using a buy now, pay later service. However, in 2019, this number nearly tripled to 8%. And by 2023, which is around the corner, it's forecasted to increase to 17% of e-commerce. The growth that we're really seeing here in Australia in the buy now, pay later market is a bellwether for the US and beyond. By comparison, the US market is still in its infancy, but consumer adoption is increasing at a rapid clip. Already 1 in 4 Americans between the ages of 25 and 34 uses a buy now, pay later service. And as predicted, as buy now, pay later rises, credit card usage has declined rapidly. This indicates that consumers aren't just using buy now, pay later alongside credit, they're actually using it as their primary payment method for purchases, which is astonishing. And you can just see here in this graph how that that intersection is really sort of showing the flippening of credit versus BNPL in Australia. And we're confident this is going to be a trend that's going to, run across the rest of the globe in the next few years. The potential growth of buy now, pay later adoption among millennials is particularly promising. 87% of American consumers aged 22 to 44 have expressed interest in breaking larger purchases into smaller monthly installments. And after a record-setting year for buy now, pay later in the US, some experts are predicting sky-high growth in the next year, as much as 10 to 15 times surge in volumes, which is just mind-blowing in terms of where this can get to. And we really feel that we're really at the beginning of this S-curve that's starting to take off. And buy now, pay later isn't, just everywhere. It's really being used for everything. Whether you're buying everyday purchases or larger expenses, customers are really enjoying the benefits of using Quadpay as their primary method across a broad swath of retail categories. They're really using it for, bills, for getaways, for travel, for food delivery, for video games. It isn't just fast fashion. It is it is an alternative to a credit card. I like to call it the installment card, where it doesn't have the psychological sort of shackles of interest and debt, where you're able to pay over time and, and be done with it and know that there's not going to be any sort of recourse afterwards. So some key takeaways here, just to wrap up, here's the story in really broad strokes. The extraordinary circumstances facing consumers today really require a new way to pay. Buy now, pay later was designed with the needs of the modern consumer in mind, offering transparency, freedom, and flexibility. And as the global payments revolution picks up in momentum in the US, Quadpay is positioned to lead the way in shaping buy now, pay later. So as the CEO, I'd be remiss to say that, if this presentation has piqued your interest, we'd love to continue this conversation. Feel free to send me an email, brad@quadpay.com. I'll be available to respond. I'd now like to open up the floor to some questions and Q&A. Feel free to either post into the session here. Cool. So Pratisha's asking here, which products or categories have been the most purchased by consumers using Quadpay before or after COVID? And also, how do we assess credit risk of the consumer? So those are two separate questions, really great questions. So in terms of product mix, we really see a broad reflection of the US economy. We see a lot of users using Quadpay, typically for purchases in the range of, say, $35 up to $300 or $500. Yet our, we can go up to $1,500. The types of categories that we see, anything from fashion to electronics to beauty, everyday purchases. Given that Quadpay can actually be used at the physical point of sale, people are using for things like groceries, Whole Foods, Coles, Instacart, Costco, those types of businesses. We are also partnered with a large number. We have over 6,000 e-commerce merchants, and these people are selling anything from, fashion products to high-end clothing, through to video games. There's a broad array. So, I think the one takeaway to sort of consider with Quadpay is that, we are more of a payments platform than we are, focused on a specific niche or category, and it can be really used for anything, anywhere. So whether your business is, in a particular type of like category, it really is irrelevant. Like Quadpay can really be used anywhere. And then in terms of credit risk, we have a large team, almost 30 people, who are focused on just risk and decisioning. We've taken a broad number of like data points from the customer when they actually check out. We don't really ask for much, but from first name, last name, address, phone number, things of that nature, we're actually able to make a real-time decision. We do a soft credit check at the time of registration or like checkout, which we can get like a FICO score, for example, but that's only one of the inputs into the platform. However, we don't report back to the bureau. So if someone defaults on like Quadpay, they aren't going to get a red mark against their name, as if they've defaulted on a student loan. And so it's really flexible and friendly in that respect. Cool. So what are some of the measures that we have in place to manage delinquencies or on payments? So, Quadpay has a bunch of measures that we put in place. The beauty of the platform is that when you check out, your sort of like debit card goes on file. So it's a little bit like Netflix, where you sign up to Netflix and then you get charged in subscriptions every month. You get charged 12 parts. In Quadpay, you really get charged 4 parts. So you can sort of think about it like that. If you defaulted on a Netflix, month, they would automatically attempt to retry that card like a number of times. We have similar retry policies in place. So if your card fails, you can, we will retry. We send SMS messages to consumers, 3 or 4 days before any installment's due. They get calendar reminders and email notifications to ensure that they have the funds available, to ensure that that they're able to pay. You can update payment types inside the app or online through the customer portal. If someone doesn't pay an installment, there's a $7 late fee that can be assessed. However, our team's extremely flexible with that. So if someone calls up or sends us an email, requesting that be reversed or cancelled, we're always going to honor it. However, you obviously need some sort of incentive for people to pay on time, and that's sort of how we do it. So, but what's important to understand is that the merchant is never on the hook for any delinquencies. Once that transaction has occurred, they get paid in full, and there's no there's no risk to the merchant if someone does fail to pay back Quadpay. It's really part of our business model, and we have a sort of we provision for that in our P&L. Here from Greg, Quadpay can be used. Can Quadpay be used in the actual brick and mortar via the app or just online? And do you help adoption of the merchant's consumer base? Yeah, of course. So, one of the unique, I guess, characteristics of our platform is we're extremely technology and product focused. Quadpay was the first to market with what we with our sort of like tap and pay solution. We partnered with Apple Pay and like Google Pay back in 2019 to enable anyone to sort of pay in store at the physical point of sale through the app. So the way that works is you can just open up the app and like register, then you can add the Quadpay Visa card to your Apple Pay wallet or your like Google Pay wallet. And because we ride on the Visa rails, you can pay at any store at the point of sale by just, sort of like tapping and paying using Apple Pay or Google Pay. If they don't accept Apple Pay or Google Pay, we actually display the card number inside the app. and they can be manually keyed in. So that facilitates brick and mortar like purchases. And then, of course, if you're an e-commerce operator and you want to add Quadpay to your online checkout, you can integrate, through Shopify or Magento or Salesforce at the point of sale, in the e-commerce environment. And then really what we do, that's just the first part of the relationship with the partnership. The second part is driving adoption. The beauty of Quadpay really is where we sit in the purchasing funnel. And so if you think about a traditional payment mechanic like PayPal or like credit card, you typically only see that option at the end of the checkout. With Quadpay, you're introduced to the pay in full mechanic at the top of the funnel on the product detail page. And so what that means is that, I'm telling my video, is, really that you're able to make the purchasing decision, or the reason that you buy is because you can pay in full. And what that drives is really a lot of adoption. And so, you don't have to market this platform extremely heavily to get the adoption. Just by having us on the PDP drives a lot of those numbers. So the reason that we're able to drive AOV increases of 50% within days of launch is because of that. But of course, with our 3 million customers, and that's growing extremely rapidly, we are promoting, all the time, new brands and new partners to try and help you with that. Ashish, great question here. Have you encountered any major challenges while integrating Quadpay with merchants' legacy systems? So, what we do with, we have a really modern technology stack. And one of the things that we pioneered in the category is something that we call virtual checkout. And virtual checkout allows Quadpay to be integrated as a front-end integration on any website without any API work. So typically a large legacy system would have downstream processes like order management systems, and a lot of the long-standing customer service tools, refunds, APIs, all sorts of things that are very complex. Our virtual checkout works in a way that enables us to generate a virtual Visa card after the checkout, and we can insert that virtual card number into your existing credit card form on the page, and then you can submit that purchase and capture the payment, and it really appears to your system like a regular Visa purchase. It also means that integrating Quadpay can be done in a matter of hours. A site as large as Walmart.com can be integrated within a day, just because of the way that we've built this. So we have solutions for these types of legacy systems that can bypass some of the complexity that you're probably thinking about. And then in terms of, here's another question, can any merchants partner with Quadpay, new online business, or is there any underwriting process? In terms of businesses, we typically, look at a bunch of data points. If it's a brand new business that's coming online, we like to see some trading history that you can demonstrate to us. It doesn't have to be too significant, but obviously, there are fraud types of checks that have to happen for brand new businesses. For existing businesses that are well established or well known, we'll always let them come onto the platform and obviously monitor them. But typically adding Quadpay to a site, I would say 99.9% of merchants who apply are usually accepted. Cool, really great questions here. Getting to the heart of our business and our products. So happy to answer any more if there are any that come through. I think something else to, just consider, there is no real, there's no upfront cost to adding any buy now, pay later provider. We're similar to, any typical payment site. So it's payment technology in that, it only really costs you anything if you end up making purchases or transactions, and, very easy to test and integrate. And you should be able to see these results really, really quickly. All right, look, it looks like there aren't any more questions here. Really appreciate all of your time and the interactions here. It would have been fantastic to be able to do this in person. Obviously, given the circumstances, we don't have that opportunity. I'm going to put my email here into the chat. You guys can feel free to send me an email anytime. Love to connect over email, and also be able to share some more of the insights and data. And hope that you guys enjoy the rest of Retail Innovation Week. It's been fantastic to have the opportunity to share Quadpay and the buy now, pay later story with everyone. But thanks for your time, and enjoy the rest of the week.